Hey fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. I moved locations because they're installing floor in my office right now. Anyway, you're watching on SIFTD. I'm hopeful that you are a Patreon patron and you're getting this real time. If you are not doing that, or even if you are doing that, sign up for Amazon Prime and link that to your Twitch Prime account. Amazon will pay us if you link your Amazon account with your Twitch account. The instructions are in the show description. If you're doing neither of those, you're getting this a week late on YouTube. You can subscribe on YouTube and we'll manage to let you get that early as well. If you don't subscribe, then you just have to wait for your dose of pack love in an extra week. From SIFTD, from Kev Masters, with the recent release of free-to-play Diablo Immortal, it's been reported that it costs roughly $100,000 to fully upgrade your character. In the past, you stated it's better to lower the barrier to entry and charge people a fair price. So how could Blizzard mess this up so badly? What is the right way to handle free-to-play? Would Blizzard have been better off making Diablo Immortal a paid game? Does this set a bad precedent? All right. Okay, so Blizzard generically is a PC game developer, and their games find their way onto other platforms. Diablo Immortal is a bottom-up build mobile game. The guys who did the math, and I actually have heard as high as $200,000, the guys who did the math are making their assumptions on how long it'll take and how much it'll cost based on what's available in the game the first week. And that presupposes that the game, like a PC game, is set in stone. All the code is there. It'll never change. There will never be an update. Mobile games don't work that way. Games are updated real time. Games are updated daily. If you play mobile games, you'll notice that you have to do a full-blown game update typically about every 2 weeks. And what mobile game developers do is they tweak characters, they tweak powers, they tweak armor, they tweak the environment to make sure that the game is balanced and that the free-to-play player has a chance. The guys who did the math here, and I'll just use a simple example. Let's say you want to max out your armor, and somebody did the math and said you need 100 iron mines working full-time for 10 years to get enough iron to make the high titanium steel armor, whatever the hell it is. I forgot what the sword in Game of Thrones was made from, but to get the Valyrian steel to make your armor impenetrable. And or if you don't want to wait 10 years to build your 10 mines and get all enough iron, you got to spend $20,000 to get your iron. That might be true the first week, and I would say that's true by design. I think that Blizzard is trying to set the tone that no, you can't buy your way up. No one's going to spend $20,000 in a week to get this armor. So the guys who are whining about this are entitled little whiny Blizzard boys who always whine about everything. This reminds me of back, what year was that, 2017, when Diablo Immortal was announced at BlizzCon and they got up and booed because it wasn't Diablo 4. And oh my God, the only thing Blizzard should work on is what they want. No, this has always been a mobile game. It was pretty dumb to announce that to a Diablo fanboy crowd at BlizzCon. It's always been mobile. Mobile games are not designed to cost somebody $100,000 or $200,000. The whales in mobile games, and again, I'm sure you'll find examples of higher than this, but a real whale in a mobile game spends about $30 a day. That's the perfect whale. You spend $30 a day, you spend close to $1,000 a month, you spend close to $10,000 a year. That is awesome. And people can afford $30 a day. Obviously, you'll go, not me, I make $15 an hour, I can't, sure. But there are people, 5% of the population, 10% of the population, can afford $30 a day. And if they don't think it's worth it, after a month, they spent their $1,000, they'll leave. But if you don't have the balance, if it's $200,000 to get what you want, then people will stop playing the game. So you of little faith, and Kev Masters, I'm not saying it's you, the people who are whining about this, they're assuming that somebody at Blizzard, the Blizzard gods, came up with the pricing mechanism, set it on day one, it will never change, and therefore nobody will ever play their game. Well, that's a pretty bad business model. You put a game out and nobody plays your freaking game, not worth it. Who cares if it's $200,000? if nobody buys one. That's like coming out with an electric car that costs $500,000 and it goes a tenth of a second faster, 0 to 60, and it goes 5 miles further on one charge. No one's going to buy it. Who cares? It's the fastest and has the greatest range. It costs 10 times as much as a normal electric vehicle. You would never do that. So the guys who are doing the math aren't giving Blizzard credit that Blizzard is going to try to manage this game so that the average person buys a battle pass and they range from 30 days to 70 days. So let's just say a battle pass every 50 days for $10, and that which, by the way, comes out to 20 cents a day, and that the battle pass convinces that person that it's a good idea to spend $2 or $3 otherwise per day. So the average guy is spending $50 to $100 a month, and constantly offer him things like bundles of iron so he can upgrade his armor and put them on sale so you don't have to work 10 years. The way mobile games work is like the two guys who are in the jungle and they see a lion and they're worried that the lion's going to eat them, and one puts on his tennis shoes and starts lacing them up, and the other guy says, "You don't actually think you can outrun a lion, do you?" And the first guy goes, "No, I don't have to outrun the lion, I have to outrun you." That's why we play mobile games. We don't need to have the best armor. We just need to have armor better than yours. So you need enough to win, and Blizzard is going to balance the economy so that the free-to-play guys have enough challenges that they can get things done, and the pay guys are going to have enough challenges that they can, they're willing to pay for them, and it kind of averages out. They are not going to chase everybody away with a business model that requires $200,000 to max out a character in the game. But you got to give it time. And I think, if you have an opportunity to give feedback to Blizzard through things like this, post on Reddit, talk about it. And if it turns out I'm wrong, and if it turns out that no one can excel at the game unless they spend $200,000, how many people are going to play Diablo Immortal who have $200,000 to spend? Answer: 1, 5, not 5 million. So Diablo Immortal is set up to generate between $200 and $300 million a year. That's the plan. And to get to $200 or $300 million, they want to have about 20 or 30 million daily active players spending about $1 a month. That's perfect. And if that's 10% of those 20 million are spending $10 a month, perfect. The reason Fortnite is so profitable and generates so much revenue is they have something like 75 million monthly active users, but literally 25 million of them buy a season pass every time. So whatever, I think it's 5 a year. I think they go 70 days. But your season pass for $10, they literally sell 25 million season passes, and they make $10, so $250 million 5 times a year. And then those people buy other stuff. They buy other backpacks, and they buy other pickaxes, and they buy other gliders and other stuff, skins, obviously. So, that's how you make money. A little bit at a time, not $200,000. And honestly, if you think the game's broken after 5 days, stop playing it. One anecdote, I used to play the mobile game from Glue called Deer Hunter, and I was kind of into it, and I was actually good at it. And I remember there was this scope that I really wanted, this sight to put on top of my rifle, and it was $300, and I did the math, it would have taken me about 3 years to earn it, and I deleted the game that day because I went, man, I really need this to be competitive in the ladder, in the tournaments in the ladder, and I'm not going to spend $300 on one thing in a game. They got too greedy for my taste. Where I play games now, and I spend, between $3 and $10 every day. I mean, I really do. So I probably spend between $100 and $300 a month on games because they make so many different offers that it actually ends up feeling like it's worth it. But, I find I'm playing one game in particular. I have more materials than I need to upgrade everybody that I need to upgrade, and I don't have enough resources to do it. And I'm so far ahead of everybody else in the game that I don't feel compelled to rush. I don't care. I'm already maxed out. I have a stronger team than anybody in my alliance. I'm level 43 in my alliance, and probably that would put me 10th or 12th in my alliance, and I've got the best team by a lot because I spend money. And I don't feel compelled to be twice as good as everybody else. I'm perfectly happy to be just as good as the top guys. You know, I'm a leader and I'm happy with that. So I kind of slowed down my spending. I've gone from probably 300 a month down to probably 50 a month. And I skip deals all the time because it's stuff I already have too much of and I don't need more. So the makers of the games know that. They figured that out. So don't think that the Blizzard guys are so greedy that they are myopic and they won't look at what everybody else is doing. If they don't get the player base that they need and if they lose players, they'll figure it out. One of the metrics in mobile games is called retention. And the retention metrics are, they have R7, R30, and then R180. And they want to see how many people who download the game are still playing 7 days later and still playing 30 days later, still playing 180 days later. And if those metrics are bad, they get a wake-up call and they change everything. So if you don't like what you're seeing in Diablo Immortal, quit. And they'll change the game and then come back with a year if they've changed it. But I would not be concerned at all. And I say this because even though we think of Blizzard as a PC game maker, they have Hearthstone. And I get it, Hearthstone's a cash grab. And I played Hearthstone for a while. You know, I think I got up to like, you know, where I could finish top, 100 or something. And then next thing I knew, every card I had, there was better cards. I couldn't do it. I couldn't keep up because you literally have to buy a card pack a day. It's too much money. And I didn't like the game that much. But that's kind of chugged along, still doing a couple $100 million a year. So the Blizzard guys have learned, they did Heroes of the Storm, Hearthstone they've done. They have their buddies at Activision with Call of Duty Mobile. They have their buddies at King, with Candy Crush. They have enough expertise in that company to get this right. And so I expect that they will get this right. Yes, the general manager of Diablo, Rod Ferguson, is also over Diablo Immortal. He is one of the smartest guys I've ever met and one of the best game guys I've ever met. He is not arrogant. He will learn from others. And I have to say, I remember having a long talk with Vince Zampella after Titanfall, and Vince wanted to have in-app purchases in Titanfall and was adamant that nothing helped you win the game and that it all be cosmetic. And I was like, you're crazy. And of course he's right. And next Apex Legends and now Apex Mobile, which is doing fine. So, I think that, and Vince is a Call of Duty guy. I mean, he's Medal of Honor. He's a console guy all the way. And yet, smart guys figure out the business model. But, that's what happens. Is the older games tend not to keep up. New games are really smart. And there's a saying, emulation is the sincerest form of flattery. That's what all these guys do. They emulate successful games. So, I talked to Donald Mustard, who told me that he's kicking himself for not trademarking the term Battle Pass. He should have come up with that because everybody uses it now as a generic term. And if he had trademarked it, for Fortnite, then he'd probably be collecting a royalty on it. The point is, everybody rips off everybody else. So Diablo's going to figure it out. If in fact it is 200,000 to level up a character, everybody will quit, and they'll get it down to 2,000, and they'll have that 2,000 take about a year because that's all they really want to make. They'll be really happy, if they make something like $100 a month or $150 a month. That's plenty for them. They want 1 million people paying, $150 a month, and that's a really successful game. So anyway, I don't think it's going to happen. Hope that's instructive. And again, it is a bad precedent if what you said is true, but I think that people are jumping to conclusions based on assumptions that will change as the game evolves. If you told me there was a player who had already spent 200,000 and was kicking everybody's ass, that would be a really bad precedent because you don't want the one guy to do that. But in real free-to-play mobile, it is pay to win, and there always are guys who are better. Thanks for joining us on Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. I hope you're watching real time as either a Patreon patron or as a YouTube subscriber, or link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account so we get paid. any of those things is great. If you're watching it a week late because you don't have money or you don't care to support Shane in his efforts to make me famous, then please follow me on Twitter at Michael Pachter. See you next week.